Welcome back to another episode of the Always
and Forever Podcast.
How you doing, my babe?
Good, and you?
Good. What is this week's topic, my love?
What is this week's topic? Delivering and parenting. Like our delivering journey, the day of delivering our baby boy, Zachary.
Which was a very, very nerve-wracking day for me.
Yeah, no. As we said in last week's episode, it was a very nerve-wracking episode for you. But it was a very calm day for me. I was just so zen on the day.
I'm gonna be honest. The way you handled everything, is like, I still think you are the strongest person I know.
Oh my goodness!
Because of how you handled that.
We gaan jy nou 'n klas soppie raak because it's nog eens 5 minute in nie.
I'm not being soppy, but I'm just being honest. Like, what I saw you go through that day, and even the next day, up until he was born, I've never seen somebody that strong.
Okay, so as you guys can hear clearly by how my husband is complimenting me, it was not an easy journey delivering our son. We had all these things planned out in our head. We were gonna drive together to the hospital.
Everything was mapped
out. I was gonna give normal birth. That was the plan. That was what I went in for. I thought I was gonna deliver on the 13th actually of June, because that was the day of our induction.
Yes.
And we thought everything was going to be smooth sailing. Our induction was at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I literally thought by 2 o'clock, or let's say at least half day, let's say 4 o'clock, we would be done. You know, we would be parents on the 13th of June. Maar dinge het nou nie soos hy uitgedraai nie.
Because the little man, he wasn't ready for the world yet. He was like, you guys are going to wait a little longer to meet me.
Yeah. So I was induced, not once.
I was dead, baby.
Yes, see. My bro. Listen, I think I've heard. Now, I've never gotten, labor pains naturally, but from what I've heard,
this was them getting the process started.
Yeah, from what I've heard from, other moms giving birth, being induced, that pain is so much more than, giving birth, like getting your pains naturally.
Yeah.
So I was induced not once, not twice, but 3 times. Just because... Yeah, no, the first induction didn't work. The first induction basically failed.
Yes.
The second induction worked, but I didn't dilate.
Remember the second one, that was the time you phoned me at 1 a.m. to say that...
my water broke at 1 a.m. in the morning,
You were like, you need to be here, it's happening.
Yeah.
And even then,
still it didn't work. Then it ultimately went over to the next day, which is the 14th, where I got induced with the drip, and that pain,
But I commend you on that one, because I remember you said that you so want to give natural birth.
No, that was the plan.
That was your primary goal, to give natural birth. But things didn't work
work that way. So I stayed only on, I think I only stayed on 2 centimeters. I didn't dilate at all.
Yeah, it didn't go further than the 2 centimeters.
It didn't go further than the 2 centimeters. So on the day we got there, got settled in by the hospital.
Bouncy
and then
ball stuff.
Yeah, my mom was there, my sister was there, and then my beautiful husband was there. At the time, boyfriend.
Yeah, boy. Yes.
He was there as well, and I felt a lot of love because all the important people in my life was basically there. Just my best friend at the time wasn't there, but she came the night before, so that was very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the important people in my life was there. And it was nice. I can remember I still made a lot of jokes. I was still dancing. I was still happy. I was still doing a little baby mama dance there. I had a black dress on, and then ultimately got changed in
the theater gown.
Yeah, the theater gown, and
Doctor said we're going in C-section.
No, you are going to fire. Deze is de volgende dag. That's only the next day.
Yes.
This is still day 1, babe.
Yeah. Day 1, I'm gonna be honest, day one was blurry. in between you getting induced and in between me also being nervous. So
really?
Yes. So you telling me this is actually something new even for me thinking about it now. Because the time flew. Like the moment we left home.
Yeah.
And go to the hospital.
Time flew for you.
Time flew by.
That was the longest day of my life.
That is weird because for
that
me
was
it
the
was
longest day of my life. Really?
It felt like that to me, babe. So this that you talking about now, it's a different perspective, which is nice because I don't remember that day like that.
Okay, we'll get to how you remember things. Yeah. We'll get to how you remember things just now. Yeah, so then got the first induction and then they came in with the ball and then, I had to do, the bouncy ball thing. And I was excited. I was really excited. I think my excitement after having my gown on and getting the ball and actually being in the maternity room.
It hit you like this is real now.
Yeah, it hit me like this is absolutely real, right? And I think what made it more special was I had a nice relationship with the nurses.
Yes.
At the hospital, so they gave me like a private room, right, which was very nice for me because
it was a very nice room.
That was a very nice gesture of them as well, because we didn't book a private room at all. So they gave me like a private room where I had my own bathroom. It was like my own little room, so I didn't have to share with other rooms,
that room
with other
was
ladies.
At the nursing station, like if you needed something, you could literally just shout.
Yeah, so that's why the experience for me was so nice, because I had nice nurses that did nice things for me, and they came in constantly all the time, checking up on me. And I heard the other ladies, in the other room, because there were rooms at the hospital where, the other ladies are like 3 in a room or 2 in a room or 4 in a room.
Yes.
So I think the room next to me, they were like 4 beds in a room, and there was other ladies there as well. So there was 2 ladies just when we came in that was like actively, getting their labor pains.
Yeah.
And that gave me a fright a little, just to hear, how they are, experiencing the labor pains and things like that.
It sounded like, it was
hectic.
It was like, what's happening here, my bro?
Yeah, but I think because I had such good friends. Like I had a lot of video calls coming in, and I can remember my one friend, Sue-Ann, like she was at work at the time, but she made it a point that night
to make it
to the hospital. Let me just say, she doesn't even have a car, and she worked. Although I think she worked in Joburg, like close to Joburg at the time.
Yeah, and it was. I think she finished late. She said she finished like 6 or 7.
Yeah, and she had to take like 3 taxis to just make it to the hospital. So there was a lot of gestures from friends and families that put me in ease. And put me at ease. I would say that made my day. Made my day not be so stressful.
It made it smoother.
And the reason why I say I can't remember you being stressed out is because I felt you actually being very calm. Yeah. In the morning, I was a bit stressed out, the fact that, you're not waking up and now all of a sudden you sleeping late and things like that. That was a little questionable. But throughout the day, I felt the fact that you were so calm added to me being calm.
Yeah.
So how was how was the day for you?
Okay, so literally that day specifically,
yeah,
I remember waking up and us going to the hospital. And I'm not gonna lie, after that, I think things just moved so quickly. It was a blur for me in terms of, like when a lot's happening, there's a lot happening in your mind. You're like, okay, this is happening. I'm becoming a dad. You becoming a mom. Why is baby not coming? Like, I remember you bouncing on the ball and everybody being in the room before they gave you the first one.
Okay.
That I remember. And I remember you even saying, this is how I remember it. You even said, no, you cannot go home. Nothing is happening so far. Because I stayed the whole day. And remember, they didn't allow a lot of us in at the same time.
Yeah.
So sometimes your mother would go in and I would wait outside.
Oh, that's a story in its own.
So I think that in and out was, in the anticipation and thinking. And so the day moved quick as where you were like you were more relaxed and experienced today. For me, it was more up and down. Okay, now I have to wait outside. Okay, you need this. Are you not hungry? You can't eat. Or it was a lot of things happening. So when you said I must go home, I was absolutely drained because it was,
Yeah, it was a stressful day for you.
It was a stressful day because I just wanted you to be okay.
Yeah.
But what happened?
Although I wasn't in a lot of pain during the day.
Yeah, you
and
were not in a lot
it
of
wasn't pain. It wasn't that hectic. So why were you so stressed out?
I don't know, man.
Were you nervous to become a dad?
You know what it is like? Because I've always worked in a medical environment.
Yeah.
I've always seen other people give birth. And I've always seen somebody else be in that situation. It's not a situation, but I've always seen somebody else.
It's a situation. What do you mean it's not a situation?
Yeah. I've always seen it from somebody else's perspective.
Okay.
Never was I in
the situation yourself.
In the situation myself.
Yeah.
So because I've seen some of it before being in that environment, that's what actually made me a little calm. But the thing is, it was moving so quickly. I was very nervous, but I couldn't show you that I was nervous.
Okay.
Because I didn't want you now to stress and panic about me.
I still can't believe how you say like it moved so quickly. That was literally the longest day of my life.
There's no way, baby.
That was the longest day of my life. We were booked in at 11 o'clock, right? I woke up so early that morning. I sprinkled the whole house. Booked in at 11 o'clock. And I think my first induction, I only got around about 1 o'clock that day.
Yes.
And I think it's a 6 hour wait for the induction to start working. That 6 hours was long.
So by the time you got the second one was when you was just laying and relaxing. Then you even said I can go home, remember?
Yeah.
I think I left around about 9 or 10.
Yeah, that night of the 13th.
Yeah, so that night of the 13th I went home.
Yeah.
And I felt this is the middle of winter. It's ice cold.
It was so cold.
It was a very cold winter. So I went home. The house was empty. It didn't feel right for me to go home. I was like, why am I home and baby still hasn't arrived yet?
Yeah.
So I went to sleep and then 1 a.m. The phone rings. And that's you calling me and saying the water broke. You need to be here now.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, come now. You would know yes.
Yeah.
So I remember waking up. I think this is actually where I got sick, where I got my flu. Because I rushed out, even without a jacket.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I have to run back and get a jacket. So that was me 1:30 on the way to Lakeview Hospital.
Yeah.
And even getting there, nothing happened even up until like 5 or 6. Then the nurses even said, you can go back home. We'll see what happens with the third one.
But then you didn't go home,
I slept in the car.
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, which was like the same like sleeping outside because the wind was literally blowing through the car. But I was like, what's the point of them giving you the third one and me just going home? I can rather just wait and stay.
So with the second induction that I got, I started getting, some pains. And the reason why I said you can go home was because I was not dilating.
Yeah, you were
However, I was getting the pains. The pains were coming.
Yeah.
Right? And when my water broke at 1 o'clock in the morning, I was so tired by that time because I could hardly sleep. So I've been awake literally since the 13th of the morning straight through. So I hardly got any sleep. And when my water broke at that time of the morning, I was like, thank God, this is finally going to be over.
Yes.
That's why I called you, because now I know, okay, you're all the way in Geluksdal, and I'm sure you don't want to miss the birth of your son.
Yes, no, I want to be there.
But it still went on. I was still not dilating. And then round about the time where they said you can go home, which is 5 o'clock in the morning, they were like, okay, they're going to discuss with the doctor to, give me the third induction.
Yes.
And when you left, I was still, in labor, getting pains. It was hectic. I can remember my mom and my sister, however, didn't go home. They were sleeping in the waiting area that night.
Yes.
And my mom, she is just a rule breaker on every level, because she would come and check up on me like hourly, although she was even not allowed to be there anymore. But my mom was like, hey, my child is in labor. There's no way you're going to tell me that I'm not allowed here.
Yeah.
which that made me feel a little bit more relaxed, knowing that my mom and my sister, they are around.
Your support system is around.
My support system is around, and I feel like that was very weird for my sister actually to just be there, because I don't know, like my sister that time 5 years ago, my sister was still very much in a shell, and we were close, but we weren't really, as close. I just think me becoming a mom, that just like broke something in our relationship.
And then things fell into place.
Basically. So the fact that she was also there that night was also something very special to me. And okay, so then the day actually broke on the 14th of June.
Yeah.
I was so tired because I slept. I hardly slept. And I think that's the day your mom and them also came.
Remember, my mom was there when you were talking about the injection.
What injection?
Getting induced, remember?
On the 13th.
She was there on the 13th.
Okay.
Remember, she even encouraged you and said you can...
No, this is the 14th.
Oh, okay.
This is the 14th that your parents came.
Yeah.
Because I can remember, the reason why I'm saying this is the 14th, this was with the final induction, right?
Yes.
That is where they said, okay, they're going to do the induction where they put the drip on.
Yes.
So the reason why I didn't want that was because my sister got that induction with her second baby.
And you saw
And everybody that I spoke to previously, like when we now said, okay, we're going to get an induction, everybody was like, oh, when you get the drip one, that one is like the air one, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want that induction. I was like, okay, I'm trusting my body here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because I was already in so much pain. So in my mind, I was like, how am I going to add more pain on top of the pain that I'm already experiencing, right? So that is how I remember your mother, because then your mom comes into my room and encouraging me to just, take the drip.
Yeah.
And she reminded me that you are the one that, wants to deliver naturally.
Yes.
So in order for you to do that, this is your only option.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to do that, this is going to end up in a C-section.
Yeah.
That was a very difficult decision to make because I was in so much pain and I was so tired. Finally, I agreed on it, right? I agreed on taking the drip. Yeah, let me just tell you. The moment that drip
hit the vein.
I think it was within 10 minutes.
What time was this when you got the drip?
This
was like midday.
Yeah, that was around about
2.
No. I think it was 12 o'clock on the 14th.
Yeah.
It was 12 o'clock on the 14th in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Because then they said this is for another 6 hours. If this does not work
within the 6
hours, then we definitely have to book you in for a C-section.
Yes.
So thankfully the whole time, well, obviously while I'm going through, getting all my pains, they always come in and monitor the baby. So baby was doing fine the whole time. His heart rate was perfectly fine. Everything was perfectly fine throughout the time I was now, being induced.
Yeah.
So when I got that third induction, I think that's where everybody just started panicking and stressing at that time.
Yeah.
Because that's 6 hours. Let me tell you, if I could kill you and my mom at that time, I would have killed you. I would have killed the both of you immediately, because now I am getting pains like nobody's business.
And we are still fighting about who's going in and who's doing what.
You and my mom, you felt entitled and my mom felt entitled, So I understood where you came from, and I understood where she, is coming from as well. Because I'm the father of this child and this is my girlfriend. And we decided that we are doing this whole journey together.
Yes.
So I rightfully feel that I need to be by her side right now. And from my mom's side, my mom is like, I am her mother. You are not her husband.
Yet.
You are not her husband yet. But at the time, we weren't even like engaged, right? You are not her husband yet. You are just the boyfriend. Like, I am.
The dude.
You are just the dude.
The dude.
Exactly. I am the one that should be by her side right now.
Yeah.
And I understood both of y'all guys, and I felt for both of y'all guys, and to be honest, I wanted the both of y'all guys there, you know. When
ultimately the staff decided and said daddy must be
ultimately the staff decided and said daddy must be there, but that was just you won the fight. My mom wasn't very happy.
World War III.
It was World War III, because I think if you could have had a verbal fight with my mom that day, you would have.
Yeah, no, but also then sometimes, avoiding the fight just would have put more strain on you.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing that you needed now.
What do you mean it's the last thing that I needed? You guys already gave it to me, so what are you talking about?
It was eyeballing. It wasn't like words. It wasn't verbal yet.
Yeah, it wasn't verbal.
You could sense the tension, but nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, like when I saw your face, I was very happy that you were there.
Yeah.
And then when I saw my mom's face, I was so happy that she was there as well.
Yeah. So you're dealing with all this pain, and then on the other end, this is happening as well. And then I can see you being so frustrated, and I can see her being so frustrated as well. And I'm just like, guys, I am going through the most here right now. Can you two just be adults in this moment? Do you remember that was the day that the World Cup started?
I do.
On the 14th.
I do.
2018.
Yeah, I do. You said it. When you're such a groot soccer kop,
and
I'm busy giving birth and you are thinking about the soccer.
And now the thing is, we get to the moment where it's time to go to theater.
Yeah, so ultimately, all 3 inductions failed. I didn't dilate at all. They come in, they're telling me that I am going to have to go to theater, because that is also that's also where baby's heart rate, no?
Yeah, baby's heart rate spiked a bit, so it needed to be emergency.
It needed to be an emergency C-section.
Yes.
I think that was the lowest of the low.
Because at that current moment, we went into dangerous territory.
Yeah, we did. So how was that for you now, knowing that we are going to get a C-section?
Okay, now with that is like, I saw the whole pain that you were going through. So in my mind, I was also just like, let's just, whichever way baby needs to come, let it just be over, so you can also just get some rest. Because you were not resting, you didn't sleep at all, and I could see you looked drained.
I was going through it.
So then we went to theater, and this time I could see you were finished. Like you were absolutely finished. And this was like 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30, you were already in theater. They called me in, and they placed me behind you to hold your hand. Remember? And your head was facing this way.
Yeah.
And that happened so quickly, babe.
Just say, hoe gebeur alles so vinnig vir jou?
That, like, if I could slow down the day, if there was a way I could slow down the day, I could have. But that is, we are in, they do the C-section.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that feeling of, like, you know what, when everything just goes quiet.
Yeah.
Because here on this end, you are so tired, you are defeated.
Yeah.
And they take out baby.
Yeah.
It was a quick incision with the C-section was a quick incision. They got baby out. The moment where my heart stopped was when baby was not making a sound, not screaming. There was no movement, nothing.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, that's the first thing that should happen when baby comes out. The scream. You should hear the scream first. So that happened, and I'll never forget your voice. You said, I said, baby is out. And then the first thing you asked me is like, why is baby not crying?
Yeah.
When you asked me that, I didn't know what to do or what to say. I was shocked at that moment. Like, it was, because I'm looking at you and I see him, and I can't describe to you that moment. Like it's one of those things that will always be with me.
Yeah.
You understand? So I saw they took him and they suctioned him quickly.
Yeah.
That also happened so quickly because the pediatrician was there as well.
Yeah.
That doctor moved so fast, babe. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, she basically saved our son's life.
That doctor saved Zachary that day because she grabbed him.
Yeah.
And immediately when she grabbed him and held him, she took him that side.
Yeah.
She didn't even hesitate or ask questions or do anything like that. She moved immediately.
Yeah.
So suction, and then, only then, I think that was like, it wasn't even a minute, babe. It was like a very short, like 30-second time frame. Then I heard him scream. And only in that moment I could like, I was trying to tell you like, babe.
But it wasn't also a loud scream.
It wasn't a loud scream.
It was a soft scream.
And you kept asking me what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all that happening, doctor is immediately like, you coming with me, daddy. I think that almost broke me because I'm like, this is happening with him this side.
Yeah.
You are here tired. What do I do now?
Yeah.
What happens now? So I had to leave you behind, which wasn't a nice feeling at all because I had to go now. I had to rush. I had to open a file. They were rushing him to neonatal ICU, and I was there with him the whole time. I mean, like, it's one of those things where what you pictured happening in your mind and what actually happened, life throws you a curveball.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those moments where you tell yourself that you will never be ready for what happens.
Yeah.
But you just try to maneuver your way through it. So even me going to reception and I was standing there, I was thinking about both of you the whole time.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, you were so tired. You were not responding. What is happening to you? Are you still in theater?
Yeah.
What's happening? He got taken to neonatal ICU. I'm standing waiting for a file. And in my mind, I'm like, the last thing I want to be doing here now is making a file.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So me rushing back, first thing I'm like, I need to go drop the file.
Yeah.
So I go drop the file. I even told the nurses in there, like, you guys can look after me. It'll be okay in your hands. Can I go? I just want to go check if my wife is okay.
You mean your girlfriend?
My girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now my wife. I can still say my wife, but Makisaki. That's back then. So, and what broke me even the most is when I got to your room.
Yeah.
Your mother was there. Your sister was there.
Yeah.
You were there. And I remember the first thing you asked me was,
Where's my son?
Where is my son?
Yeah.
Where is my baby?
Yeah.
And I can't even remember that, but okay, I think I was just like, I just told you like, he's okay, babe. He's in neonatal ICU.
Yeah.
I think that you were in so much pain. My mind was racing. It was just a lot of things happening in that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the 14th, babe.
I think from my side,
it was
how going to theater went was, I wasn't happy at all because obviously I'm getting a C-section and it's the last thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
And also I was so tired. So the moment they put me on, the bed for the C-section, I looked at you and they were busy dressing you, and you know how you see in the movies or how you see other people, when they go in and they know that they're getting a C-section is, the dad is getting dressed and then the mom is getting dressed and, we're so excited, like within a few minutes, we're going to be parents and things like that. But for us, it wasn't that way, because I was just so tired. And still, while I was sitting on the bed, I think I still asked, because I was still actively getting pains that time.
Yes.
And then the doctor still said, let's give it just a few moments. Let's see, maybe something is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we sat there for a little while, but still nothing was happening. And ultimately she said, okay, let's do this thing. We're in theater now, mommy, this is happening. There's no other way. And that was a very long needle that they put in my back. But
that's not a small needle.
That's not a small needle at all. So the moment that needle went in my back, I could literally feel because I was getting pains in my back, right? Yeah. So the moment that needle, they took that needle out, I could feel all that labor pains just going out of my body. It was like a relief at the same time. But the hardest part for me now was I was tired. So the moment the pain went away, I became sleepy. And that was hard for me because I don't want to be asleep right now. How am I going to sleep while I'm literally giving birth? So they laid me down and you came to my side now, and now I'm fighting to stay awake. I'm literally fighting. I was so tired. I was drained. I was like snoring I was snoring now, but keeping my ears open and trying to keep my eyes open, but I just couldn't keep my eyes open. So that whole C-section moment of me, even, how they put that
screen.
I don't remember that screen.
I know.
I don't remember that screen at all.
You were mostly laying on your side while that whole thing
was my eyes closed. Yeah, I hardly saw you even next to me. All I did was I prayed to God to keep my ears open. Like, I want to hear everything. I want to be in the room, but my eyes cannot be open because I'm that tired.
I think, you know what, like, it was a scary experience.
It was a very scary experience,
because it was the type of experience where you hear people talk about something like that, but you actually going through it. You like, this is that fine line between like life and death. Like anything can happen at any moment.
Anything can happen at any moment, yeah. And then, like you said, the incision was quick and easy. And all I can remember while laying there, I heard my gynecologist said, baby's out.
Yeah.
And then I heard my gynecologist also said, baby's not breathing.
Yeah.
And I heard you said, baby's out, baby's not breathing, and the baby's blue.
Yeah.
And
you see, I don't even remember saying that,
Yeah. And I started crying, a very, very deep cry. I can remember laying there with my eyes closed. I can't even open my eyes. I'm so tired. Everything is like black in front of me. And all I can remember, crying a very deep cry.
Yeah.
And then I heard the pediatrician, helping the baby there, trying to suction the baby, and then baby gave like a small little cry. That wasn't even a loud cry. That was like the faintest cry ever.
But just to hear that
gave me a little hope.
Yes.
But I think the one thing that broke me was when the pediatrician told you, go open a file for NIC ICU immediately.
Yeah.
Now, also coming from a medical background, the moment you hear like NIC ICU and things like that, you are in your mind, you are panicking, what is happening?
You are panicking immediately.
You're panicking immediately, and you were out, doctors out, I just hear wheels like, and people are busy stitching me up, and I can just remember my gynecologist came to me, and I felt her hand like on my forehead, and she said, everything is going to be okay, mommy. All you need to do is rest.
Yeah.
And that gave me a little peace of mind. But while I was in the recovering room, I was asleep and I was tired, but I was fighting to wake up. I'm fighting myself to wake up. I'm forcing myself to wake up the whole time. And I can hear the recovering nurses even saying here next to me, Mama, don't fight.
Yeah.
Just sleep.
You can calm down.
Yeah, calm down. Don't fight. Just calm down.
But like,
I didn't.
in that moment, how can you calm down? Because I'm missing, he's missing.
Everybody's missing. I don't know what is happening right now. This is not the way things are supposed to go. This is not how I thought giving birth would be, you know?
Yes.
And eventually I fought myself awake, and I can remember the one nurse says, Mama, you were fighting, no? And I was like, I want to go see my son right now. And they said, no, you can't. We're going to take you to the room, and
you must get well first.
Yeah, no, you have to rest. Your mom is there, your sister's there, and daddy will be there just now. And that's where, I came in the room, and I saw my mom and I saw my sister, and that was very comforting. And then I waited for you for a little while, and then you eventually came, and yeah, you stuttered. Like, you were like, you didn't know really what to say.
Yeah, I didn't know what to say because, like, I only had pictures of him.
Yeah, you showed.
They only allowed me to take like 2 pictures of him, and
those pictures were horrible.
It was horrible pictures to see because of all the piping, and he had his mask on his face. And you couldn't really see him.
No, you couldn't see him at all.
His face was covered in pipes and oxygen mask and all that.
Yeah, his whole body was covered in a lot of pipes because he had like 4 pipes also like sticked in his navel.
Even the pipes in his nasal to pump out all that went into his lungs. Yeah. And
it was absolutely horrible. So I can remember you saying, all I have is pictures to show you. And then you showed me those 2 pictures, and that broke me.
Yeah, I remember those were like, I think the pictures you envisioned seeing.
Yeah.
In what you saw.
Yeah. And after that, that's where the nurses became a little bit strict. They were like, okay, guys, everything is over. We've given you guys so much grace within this 2 days. Now it's the time that mommy actually needs to rest. Daddy, you must leave. And then my mom had to leave and my sister had to leave. And that night was just not it for me. Hey, I cried that whole night of the 14th.
I think, like, even for me, like, like the drive home, I remember, like leaving you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, imagine the last conversation me and you had were I showed you pictures.
Yeah.
And then I get told, no guys, visiting is over. You guys need to go. That was like, I'm leaving my 2 people behind just like this.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was leaving in your moment of need. Like you needed somebody, he needed somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was not beautiful.
Yeah, I think
that was not beautiful at all.
I think that experience also, like, I think what we can take away from that experience is it showed us that, life can throw you a curveball.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you envision something happening a certain way, but it doesn't always go that way.
No, it hardly goes that way.
I still feel like that was for me the scariest moment in my life because it was a day where I could have lost you and I could have lost baby at the same time.
Yeah.
And you think about things like that and you ask yourself, like, how would I have recovered from this and stuff like that? But then the blessing is that you guys are still here.
We still here. Yeah, no, it was definitely a blessing. That was our biggest blessing. And I think what got me out was so I eventually got a little sleep in that night. I did cry most of the night, and I can remember that I fell asleep around about 3:00 that morning. And I can't remember if me and you spoke that night.
No, I just informed you that I'm home.
Yeah, we hardly spoke that night. There was silence between us.
Yeah.
I think the both of us, we didn't really know, what to do.
How to process what actually happened.
Yeah, so I can remember when I woke up, it was about 6:00 in the morning, and I was like, oh, that was the best 3 hours that I slept for this past 2 days. But what really motivated me was going to go see my son. So waking up that morning, taking a shower, and walking to the ICU, and seeing my son for the first time. Oh my goodness. It was not a beautiful sight to see, obviously, because he was still all the wires and pipes and things was still They were still all there. But I think the one thing that that gave me a lot of strength was the nurses telling me that he's going to be absolutely fine. He's going to be absolutely fine. He just is struggling a little bit to breathe, but he will pull through. Already since they pushed him in last night at 6 o'clock, he's already made
progress.
Yes, within the 12 hours, he has already pulled through so much. And I can remember the one sister asking me if I am going to breastfeed him, and I said yes. And she was so proud of me, because she was like, "Your mommy, you're so young, and a lot of young ones, they don't really want to breastfeed." And I think that's also going to be good for him to recover. And when I saw him, then I started taking, a lot of pictures, and I forward that through to you. And
that's where you were, like, the bond was starting.
The bond was starting. That was where I was like, okay, I'm a mother, this human being is my human being. And that was our journey of giving birth. That was our journey of the day of giving birth. A beautiful, beautiful story, but not a perfect story.
Which
definitely.
It's just also an indication that things don't always go as planned.
No.
But the blessing in that is that
we became parents that day.
We became parents, and we managed to maneuver past it.
Yeah.
Wasn't easy, but
no.
Yes, and then baby has to come home.
Baby has to come home. So obviously, with him being admitted, I got discharged without Zachary. And that was a bitter pill to swallow as well.
That was bad, because they said he must stay for 1 week.
Yeah, he had to stay longer. And I had to, he was there more than a week, babe. He was literally there, week, yes. Like, I think 8 or 9 days in the hospital. It was long. It was long. I don't think you remember it that well, because then you got sick as well. So that was just the whole journey.
The timing of me getting flu was very bad.
And the flu that you got was a horrible flu. It was that flu that literally knocks you down.
You have to stay in bed.
You have to stay in bed. You have no energy in your legs. You have no energy. I just think like the whole life got sucked out of you as well. So that was also a bitter pill for me to now swallow, because now I'm coming home alone. And you're not even the one picking me up. My mom has to pick me up from the hospital.
Yes.
So this whole thing of we are doing this thing together, we are going to be by one another's side, step by step. That whole plan just, went out of the window.
And I mean, because baby already was having trouble breathing, and me with flu, that wouldn't have worked at all.
It wouldn't have worked at all. So obviously now you couldn't be around me. You couldn't be around baby. And I came home. I remember I was crying so much that day, and my mom was really a superwoman. She was really a superwoman that day. That now went very fast for me. You know how you now say...
that moment went fast, yes.
Yeah, the days of him being in the hospital, that went very fast for me. I think my brain just went in overdrive. Like, all I could think about was going to the hospital... seeing him, and that is all I cared about. Every day I woke up, my first priority was I need to wash to go to the hospital. And I can remember a friend asking me, like, how is my C-section going? Like, how's my scar healing up? I don't even know
you
how.
Were not even focused
I
on
wasn't
that.
focused on that. I can vaguely remember my mom, cleaning my wound here and there. But I can vaguely remember that. Like, that was just not my priority. That was just not in my mind. Like, I wasn't thinking of my scar. I wasn't thinking, am I in pain? I wasn't thinking about me at all. That wasn't in my mind. Every day, my only priority was waking up and going to the hospital, waking up and going to the hospital. That was my only priority. And I was mad at you because I was like, how? I was mad at you for being sick. I was so furious at you for being sick. I was like, how am I doing all this alone? But at the same time, I'm missing you so much. Like, I just want to be with you. I just don't want to be alone in this moment.
I think the timing of that flu starting just made things worse.
Horrible. That was horrible. That was so bad.
I think it was that night where I drove 1 a.m. I think it was so cold.
Yeah, I think so too.
Immediately.
Yeah, I think so too. So that was our story, basically.
That's our delivery story.
That's our delivery story. Not a very romantic story, or not a very, how people go give birth beautiful and everything is just so nice. Ja, nee, ons was nog nie soos daai gewees nie. I think I had to be calm in the beginning of, going into the hospital.
Yes.
Because as ek ook nog moes uitgestres gewees het in die begin, and that whole thing, happened, I just think it would have been. So God actually kept me calm that whole 13th, because he knew, okay, baby girl, everything you think, how everything is going to go is not going to go that way.
Yeah. So I think there was also a curveball that we had to deal with at that time in our lives.
Yeah.
And that's why, as much as it wasn't pretty, like you say, it was a blessing.
It was definitely a blessing.
That we came out of that, and we're still here.
So
on the next episode, babe,
we are going to
who's coming home?
Baby's coming home on the next episode. Baby Zachary.
Yes, guys, and then we will discuss what our experience was like that first months and of being parents
and parenting together.
Yes.
So that is it for us.
This is another episode of the
Always and Forever podcast. Up until next time, guys, we love you so much. Bye.
Keep well.